Welcome back, Devils fans, and we just witnessed the most gutting and pathetic loss of the 23-24 season. In a season that saw a lot of bad and pathetic losses, tonight takes the absolute cake. A heartbreaking one to watch, absolutely painful. This loss brought to you by Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. I had quite a few of these tonight, thoroughly enjoyed them. I actually like the peach tea flavor the best, but I ran out of them, so I had the lemonade in the fridge. Highly recommend the Surfside. This loss brought to you by Surfside, and of course our banner sponsor, RWJ Barnabas Health, has presented the worst loss of the season here tonight, and the Devils just could not find a way to take the lead in Anaheim. We lose to the Ducks, and a 4-3 loss in Anaheim is completely pathetic. Once again, just like the previous game, we dominated gameplay, but couldn't finish our chances in some scenarios and made Dostal look like a phenomenal goaltender. And you know what? I feel bad for guys that play on horrific teams like the Ducks because his numbers are trash, but in the end, he showed me something tonight. I would say he's a better goalie than any of the goalies on our roster. And so, it's hard for these guys playing on tragic teams to have decent stats, but he definitely looked way better than what you'd imagine he would be based on his stats. Devils make another mediocre, quote-unquote, goalie look phenomenal tonight in Anaheim, and there's got to be something on the horizon. The Devils blew a golden opportunity. Philly lost today, so if we had won tonight, we would be 3 points behind them for third in the Metro with a game in hand. Instead, we remain at 5 points behind. And the crazy part about this is because of how poorly a lot of teams in the league are playing, we're still right in this. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but obviously as games go on, it's going to become more and more unlikely. But it's still not impossible to make the playoffs because of how bad some of these other teams are. The Flyers were dealt a really rough card this year with losing Carter Hart with the whole Canada thing. They've had some other injuries. Konecny's out. And they might be. A lot of people are speculating that they're going to be sellers at the deadline and look more towards their future goals as opposed to going all in on this season because they're kind of ahead of schedule on their timeline that they had laid out. And so they might be selling off. And so they are primed to be overtaken. But nights like tonight are extremely painful. Anaheim is a terrible team. We dominated the game. We should have killed them. And instead, we lose in the fashion we did. A complete heartbreaker. Go over the scoring. But another game that was lost by goaltending. 100% with a real goaltender, we win this game tonight. I believe we win it easily. And there's been plenty of these throughout the season. Am I saying a goaltender is going to fix all of our problems? No. But had Fitz gotten a goalie 2 months ago, even a month ago, we would be comfortably in a playoff spot. And instead, we're now living on hopes and dreams, living on a prayer because he did nothing, essentially. And another game tonight lost purely because of goaltending. Take a look at the scoring. Vetrano scores at 3:37. Again, that's a terrible goal in my opinion by Dawes. I mean, not a terrible goal, but a goal that you have to make the save. So at 3:37, Vetrano gets in tight on the first shot of the game for the Ducks, rips one through Dawes, gives them the 1-0 lead, and then late in the first period, Timo's looking like a new player these days. Cleans it up in the crease, gets a garbage goal, ties it up at 1. And then not even a minute later at 18:15, our old friend Adam Henrique scores on a wraparound to give the Ducks a 2-1 lead. Again, I thought that was a terrible goal by Dawes. Not really showing great awareness of the puck there, and then very slow to get over and cover the post. That's one you definitely got to save in a game like this as well. And Henrique beats him to the post, wraps one in, gives the Ducks a 2-1 lead heading into the second, where they then take the 3-1 lead at 13:47. Max Jones on the redirect. I mean, that one, I'm not going to really blame Dawes on that one. Really good play. Really good heads-up play by the Ducks. They take the 3-1 lead, and at this point, I'm thinking it's all coming crashing down. But I still had a little bit of hope just because of how much we really were dominating the game to that point and how bad the Ducks are. I was like, okay, 3 goals, it's over. But down 2, there's still a lot of games to be played. Maybe we'll get our chances. And a couple minutes later at 15:27, Jack on the power play rips one through Dostal, cutting the Ducks lead to 3-2. And at that point, I'm like, all right, we're in business. We're in business. We still have plenty of hockey to play. Let's get this done. And then, sure enough, in Devils fashion, give one back very quickly, a minute and a half or so later at 17:08. Vatrano again comes in tight, throws the moves on, and just beats Dawes. And after that one, I thought Dawes should have got pulled. I know there's only 2 minutes and change left in the period. I was calling for him to get pulled at that point. I don't think he should have even been given the courtesy by Lindy to finish out the period and wait in between periods to pull him. I would have made him skate to the bench and get pulled in the middle of the game. I don't think he deserved, the dignity of getting pulled in between periods, honestly. And he single-handedly lost us the game tonight. I mean, there's no doubt about that. This loss is on Nico Dawes. He's won us games on some nights, and he's lost us some games. And tonight he lost us a game. Completely putrid outing. But I'll get back to that in a minute. So we are now 4-2 after 2. 4-2 after 2. Kind of buzzing for a lot of the third. Dostal keeps making saves. And then on a late power play with Schmid on the bench for the 6-on-4, Toffoli gets one at 17:03. And at this point now, there's 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the game. We're down 4-3. I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get some more chances here with Akira back on the bench. Let's see how this goes. And in one of the saddest moments of the year, late, we're buzzing with Akira on the bench, 6-on-5, buzzing for the final minutes of the period. Tons of chances, tons of near chances. And with 2 seconds left, Vatrano just throws the net off the moorings, and the Devils are awarded a penalty shot. And Jack Hughes takes the penalty shot. And with 2 seconds left, Jack Hughes comes in, gets a little too tight. I didn't like the angle he took from the beginning. I always like when guys come up the right more so. I don't know why. For whatever reason, in my head, I pictured him coming up the right and doing a little zigzag, but he came up the left, and then he got in a little too tight. He got poke checked, and he got too pretty and tried to get in too close, and that was it. He felt the pressure of it, basically, the weight of the world on your shoulders there, and it's crazy. Right before the shot, I told my buddy, I was like, if he, and it sounds crazy, but I was like, if he scores on this penalty shot, we're going to the playoffs. Like, in my head, that was just happening. Like, he was going to score. We're eventually going to win in overtime, and this was going to be like the momentum tidal wave to the playoffs. It obviously wasn't written that way. He gets stuffed. Devils lose an absolute heartbreaker. And, this one is on the goaltending. With Markstrom or a real goalie, I believe we probably win this game 3-1, 3-2, maybe 4-2. But Markstrom's not giving up either of those first two goals. I can't say definitively on the other two. But at worst case, I think we win this game 3-2. But when we're constantly playing from behind, and especially late in the game, the Devils have to, change up the way they're playing. Our opponents with the lead can change up their game and play very differently. And so when we're constantly playing catch up, it's really hard to get in a rhythm and get wins. And I believe with a real goalie, we easily win this game tonight. I mean, that's the reality. We dominated the game. And let's take a look at the shots. Devils with 55 fucking shots on goal. 55 shots to 23 for the Ducks. That is absolutely phenomenal. That's almost 2.5 times the amount of shots. Unreal. 55 shots. Now, I will say, a lot of our 55 shots were not quality chances. Tonight was one of the nights where it seemed like the Devils' goal was to throw rubber on net often and from anywhere, which I'm a fan of. I like that, especially against a backup goalie and a team that's not good. I'm always a fan of just firing rubber from everywhere, hoping to get, rebounds, deflections, tips, whatever it is, lucky goals. But I'm always a fan of just throwing it on net and playing hard and seeing what happens. There's been a lot of games this season where we weren't playing that way. We're always making the extra pass, trying to be super fancy, trying to make the pretty highlight reel move instead of just getting it on net. And I thought that was to our detriment in a lot of games. But tonight we were firing from everywhere. So I will give Dostal credit. He played a great game. But the 52 saves he had on our 55 shots, a lot of them were low-quality chances from the perimeter that were like very easy saves with no traffic, no screens or anything. But I'm not taking anything away from him. He played a phenomenal game, 52 saves. But when you first look at it, it is a little deceiving because a lot of those shots were just very, very low-quality shots from the outside and just throwing anything on net. But 52 saves on 55 shots. Absolutely outstanding performance for Dostal. He should be the player of the game. We'll get there in a minute. I haven't looked. 55 shots for the Devils, 23 for the Ducks. We had the slight edge in the faceoffs, 53.5% to 46.5%. Devils were 2 for 4 on the power play. Ducks were 0 for 2. Devils with 10 hits to 28 hits for the Ducks. And that's another thing. While I was watching the game, other teams just come out and bash us. They just know that we're just soft, and everyone knows it. Getting McDermid today was a big step in the right direction, but that's not going to change the chemistry of the way this team plays as a whole, and I'm not sure what we have to do to get the message across. But now I believe in our last 3 games we've had 6 hits, 7 hits, and 10 hits. So we're averaging like 7.4 hits or something a game. That's pathetic for the league. And the Ducks had 28, almost triple the amount of hits. 10 hits, 1 every 6 minutes to 28 hits. The Ducks were finishing their hits everywhere. And throughout the game, it was something I definitely noticed. I was like, damn, these guys are just crushing us every chance they get, whereas we just do everything we can to not make contact. It's pathetic. Block shots. Again, we talked about this in the last episode. Devils with 10, Ducks with 21. So more than double, almost triple the amount of hits as us, and more than double the block shots. Devils with 8 giveaways, Ducks with 6 giveaways, Devils with 4 takeaways, Ducks with 6 takeaways. And, yeah, what a painful night, brought to you by horrific goaltending. I'm going to look at the 3 stars of the game. The 3rd star from Anaheim, Jones, with a goal and an assist. The 2nd star with 2 goals, Vetrano. And the 3rd star, as it should have been, Dostal, with 52 saves. A great performance by this kid. And, yeah, he's better. You know, his stats might not be great, but I would say the eye test tells me he's better than any of the goalies we have in our NHL roster right now. And that's unfortunate because this has been a known problem for months now. Tom Fitzgerald absolutely sucks at his job. I am sorry to say, it was painfully obvious when we had a goalie months ago. He did nothing. And now we're in a position where we're fighting for our playoff lives, and we lost another game tonight because of goaltending. It's complete bullshit. And I do think that we're at the point where he was probably waiting to see how this West Coast trip played out to see if he was going to be nudged to acquire pieces or just kind of continue to sit with his hands in his pockets, playing with his balls, pocket pool. And so now, you know, this might be a step backward in the mind of Tom Fitzgerald, whether he's going to make any other moves or not. But the reality is the team has a lot of needs on this roster as it's constructed, and they're going to have to be addressed in the summer anyway. And so I'm screaming from the mountaintops, make some fucking moves now. But first and foremost, a goalie. You need one anyway. You are not saving much by waiting till the summer. You're 100% pissing a season away when you might have to pay a slightly higher price right now instead of the summer, but at least we could go on a run and try to get into the playoffs. Willingly just mailing the season in is completely pathetic. Completely pathetic, unacceptable, and a fireable offense in my opinion. If I'm the owners, I'm like, you're horrible. You sold me a bill of goods. We had one good year. Yeah, you're going to use the injury card, and we came out this year and did absolutely nothing. He made no moves, and there's not going to be any playoff revenue for the owners this year. They like that playoff ticket gate money and concessions and merchandise. You're not getting a dime of it this season. Shutter the rock, baby. The rink is break it down. There's no more hockey after April because Tom Fitzgerald decided to be cutesy and roll the dice and thought that the answer for the goaltending issue the whole time was in Utica and brought up Nico Dawes. That was his phenomenal play of the year. And so Tom Fitzgerald truly is a magician. He has duped the owners into extending him in the middle of this season while we were obviously in trouble at the time. Somehow dupes the owners into giving him a contract extension. And then for his final trick of the season, poof, he's made this season disappear. Tom Fitzgerald made the 23-24 Devil season disappear before our eyes, and it's sad. It's completely sad. And furthermore, amidst all the news and the rumors and the bullshit, today Jacob Markstrom finally broke. Quote from Jacob Markstrom on the trade rumors, the whole situation and everything, am I happy about that? No, I'm not. And I think it could have been handled a lot different from up top. Shots fired by Jacob Markstrom. Let's go. This situation is now going to turn ugly. They've been playing with Markstrom's balls for a couple months now. Supposedly, the Devils were super close on finalizing a deal to bring him to New Jersey from the Flames. The Flames Craig Conroy had went to Markstrom, and Markstrom agreed to waive his no movement clause to come to New Jersey. This was somewhere around, I don't know, this may have been even 6 weeks ago. I don't know, but it was a while ago. And so usually when a GM goes to a player like that, after they had publicly stated beforehand they weren't trying to trade him, and we don't want to go to him with anything unless it's some overwhelming blow us, knock our socks off type offer, we don't want to go to Markstrom with it. Well, the fact is, a while ago you already went to him and asked him to move his no movement clause, to waive it rather, and he agreed to. And then usually after that, a deal is made shortly thereafter. You don't go to a player, ask him to move it to a specific team, he agrees, and then you play all this cat and mouse games in the media, and we're not going to trade him now, blah, blah, blah. They're playing games. They've pissed the guy off. He's now spoke out against the whole situation in the media, and it's only a matter of time. So now if I'm Tom Fitzgerald, I'm putting the flame to Conroy. I'm calling him tomorrow, if not already. I probably would have called him the second I saw this come out, and say, you've pissed Markstrom off now. Take my offer, whatever it was, and be done with it. Because as the situation gets uglier, it's not going to improve his value. And if Markstrom wanted to be a dick about it and play hardball, he could say, you know what, I'm staying here. I'm not waiving to go anywhere, and you're going to get nothing for me. Or he could, say, I want to go to X team, and say, you have to figure it out them, and that's obviously going to minimize his return as well if he's only narrowing it down to like one or two destinations maybe, where then Conroy has to try to extort that team for whatever he could get. But either way, Markstrom can make their lives much more difficult because he has the no movement clause, and he's speaking out in the media. It is time for Fitz to play hardball, put the flame to Conroy, and say, let's get this done before this gets even uglier and I start pulling pieces out of my offer. I'm making it a sliding scale offer. The offer is getting less as time goes on because we need goalie help today. I would like to see tomorrow morning I wake up to the announcement that we've obtained SAROS or Markstrom and that they will be playing on Sunday against the Kings. Anything short of that, Fitzgerald should be hung from the big hockey guy in Championship Plaza. The big statue, I'd like to see him dangling from it, because this has been a pathetic performance by a GM in professional sports when there was such a glaring need and you failed to do anything about it. And so here we are. I'm super pissed off. This is definitely the worst loss of the season. We deserve much better. This loss is completely on goaltending, and that's brought to you by Tom Fitzgerald and obviously RWJ Barnabas Health. Something's got to give, and if he's mailing it in, then mail it in. I don't know what else to say. I can only hope and pray that the dude gets fired. I don't think it's going to happen. They just extended him. And so, this nonsensical situation is going to continue on, but we're still in it. We are still in it. And I don't know what more needs to happen, because the eye test tells you that we lost tonight because of goaltending. I think everyone's pretty much, I'd imagine, is on board. Let me know what you thought in the comments about that. But I'm going to say that this loss is completely on goaltending, and with a real goalie, we win this game. And there's been plenty of them over the course of the season where if we had a goalie, we would have won the game. A few weeks ago, in the on-ice interview with Erica Walker after being named the first star, Jack Hughes said something along the lines of, yeah, it's much easier to win when we get the saves, or something like that. I mean, that kind of took on a life of its own, and was traveling around the media that Jack was basically, telling Fitzgerald and the world what we all knew is that, our goalies suck and we need a better one. But that was a couple weeks ago. A lot of people ran with that and made it maybe a bigger story than it was. I just thought it was a kid being super honest about his opinions. But tonight, after the game, from Captain Nico Hischier, quote, "We had tons of chances, but just gave up too much again. We should win that game 3-1, 3-2. Again, not a super damning quote, but again, alluding to the fact that we're giving up more goals than we should. And I think it's a message to Tom. I mean, I don't know what more. You now had your superstar player and your captain within a few weeks both make comments about goaltending, and it's obvious. I mean, I just don't know, what's going on, what the logic is, why he's going to try to wait. But again, this is not a this season problem. This is a this season and beyond problem, and it needs to be fixed in the summer at the latest. And so if you are waiting for the summer, I don't know why. There's multiple guys available right now, and there's going to be other teams trying to get them. Once they're off the board, if you don't land SAROS or Markstrom, I honestly don't know what your plan C is. And I would say it's a pretty significant drop-off to the next best available option after those two guys. I would love either one of them, and would probably make my decision based on what the packages would be to go the other way. I do think Markstrom is a very good goalie. He's signed for 2 more years, not a crazy cap hit. And I do think he's capable of bringing you on a deep run. With that being said, he's kind of a bridge solution till we either get someone else or Dawes, Schmidt, or some other young goalie within the organization is ready to take over the net. And SAROS is a very long-term fix in net and would set you up for a very long time. So I'd like to see either one of them. For me to make my choice, it would come down to what the price was on both of them in terms of assets. But one of those two guys got to come here. And I will be happy if we get them in the summer, but I'd be much happier if we got them now. I'm super pissed. This loss sucks. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the game, what you think about the goaltending, what you think about Fitz. And I was coming off a little bit of a high, too. I was watching all the Curtis McDermid fights on YouTube. Tough son of a bitch this guy is. Watch some of the clips. There's a couple in the description of the video I just posted a few hours ago. And then you can just go on YouTube and scroll around. You'll see tons of them. And a lot of them you'll even see leading up to the fight, that it wasn't just like a staged fight. It was in response to something that had happened to one of his teammates. So either someone took a run at one of them, slammed him hard, something dirty, and he's always watching the backs of his teammates, which is exactly what we need for this Devils team. And even tonight, I forgot about that. That brings me full circle, and I remember now. Shout out to Curtis Lazar. Lasers has some balls on him, and he went right after Gudas. Jack got popped in open ice. Gudas caught him with a clean hit. But you know what? When you hit our star players, clean or not, there's going to be consequences. And the consequences are you're going to have to drop the mitts, and we're going to go. And so Lazar stepped up. Jack got rocked by Gudas. Lazar immediately went after him. A little bit of a fight, nothing too crazy. Lazar held his own. And that's what you want to see, guys sticking up for each other. And that's the kind of stuff that we need a lot more players to play with. They need to play with some sort of snarl, grit. And I've talked about it at nauseating levels throughout the season. I mean, this team obviously has been very soft for a while, and you're not going to change it overnight, but I think McDermid is a nice step in the right direction in terms of improving overall team toughness. And at multiple points tonight, including like the first minute of the pregame on local coverage, Bryce Salvador was gushing over the move. He was saying every Devils player just grew 2 inches and gained 10 pounds with the arrival of McDermid. He's one of the toughest guys in the league, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna take some pressure off the young guys, maybe that they play a little bit looser, maybe they'll get a little more room out there. And then during the game, he talked about it 1 or 2 more times as well. And Bryce Salvador was a former NHL captain and a tough guy in his own right. He was no pushover, and he was talking about what that type of roster addition does for a team and how he thought it would benefit this New Jersey Devils club specifically. And so when I hear a former NHL captain, longtime NHL vet talking about it in the way that he was, even though he is the biggest homer, I do think that it was a good move. But again, we have way bigger issues, but I thought that was at least the first time we've seen this season Tom Fitzgerald kind of at least acknowledging in some capacity one of the glaring issues on the squad, and it obviously is toughness. And so he went out and got this guy. But the real issue he needs to address is that we haven't had NHL quality goaltending all season. Tonight is the latest loss because of it, and it sucks. But the reality is we're still not out of it. And then we look at the standings, we're still right there. Philly's begging for someone to take their spot. And like I said earlier tonight, they might be selling off, looking towards the future. And that's even more of an opportunity to catch them. Yeah, we have 64 points. They have 69. So they have a 5-point lead on us. And we have a game in hand. And we also play them head-to-head. So this is the exact same scenario that we were in a couple days ago, where if we win the game in hand and beat them head-to-head, that takes care of 4 out of 5 points, leaving only 1 point to make up elsewhere throughout the rest of the season. But now we also have the Islanders, who have a game in hand on us with the same amount of points. And then Pittsburgh's only 2 behind as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a dogfight. It's a dogfight, but the Flyers are primed to be taken over. And we are, and that Tampa Bay loss was such a stinger. That was such a missed opportunity last Sunday. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we have 2 games in hand on Tampa Bay at the moment. They've played 62, we've played 60, and we're 6 points behind. So, again, if you win your 2 games in hand, now you're only 2 points behind. It's like, yeah, how many chances is this team going to have? As bad as tonight was, we're still in it. It's crazy, but I don't know that, Fitzgerald's going to do anything, so we're going to see. Let me know what you thought in the comments about tonight's game, what you thought about the addition of McDermid. What do you think Fitzy's going to do? You think he's going to do anything before the deadline? What do you think? Can this team pull off the miracle run? Anything and everything New Jersey Devils hockey. throw it out there in the comments. But tonight was a super painful one, and we need to bounce back Sunday. It really sucks. I will talk to you all soon. I will see you all soon. Super depressing night. Pretty pissed off. That was a monster penalty shot for Jack. If he only could have buried that. Damn it. Damn it. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.